Imagine being just 14, 15, or 16 years old, ripped from your home, accused of a crime you didn't commit, and thrown into a legal system that's stacked against you. No evidence, no real witnesses, just fear, prejudice, and a rush to judgment. This is the story of the Central Park Five, five Black and Latino teenagers whose lives were shattered by a crime they had nothing to do with. But what happened after? And how did the truth finally come out? Stay with me, because this is a story that will shock you to your core. The Central Park Jogger case, a story of injustice and redemption. On April 19th, 1989, a young woman, Tricia Maley, went for a jog in Central Park. A 28-year-old investment banker, she had no idea that her routine evening run would change the course of history. Hours later, she was found brutally assaulted, her body left for dead. She had been raped, beaten so severely that her skull was fractured, and her body was left in a pool of blood. The attack was so vicious that she remained in a coma for 12 days, suffering from severe brain trauma and memory loss. As news of the assault spread, fear and anger gripped New York City. The media ran wild with headlines about wilding teens, a term used to describe groups of young men supposedly terrorizing the park. Pressure mounted on the police to find the attackers quickly, and they turned their attention to five young boys who had been in the park that night. Antron McCray, Kevin Richardson, Yusef Salaam, Raymond Santana, and Corey Wise. None of them had any connection to the crime scene, but the police had already made up their minds. They wanted confessions, and they were willing to do anything to get them. The five boys, aged between 14 and 16, were subjected to relentless interrogation for hours, some for more than 30 hours straight. Denied access to their parents or legal counsel, they were intimidated, coerced, and psychologically broken down. The police fed them details of the crime and pressured them into confessing. Scared, exhausted, and confused, they told the police what they wanted to hear, hoping it would make the nightmare end. Those coerced confessions became the backbone of the prosecution's case. There was no DNA evidence linking them to the crime, no eyewitnesses, no solid proof, just words forced out of them after hours of pressure. The trial was a media circus, sensationalized by newspapers and fueled by racial biases. The case painted the boys as dangerous criminals. Despite glaring inconsistencies in their confessions and the complete lack of physical evidence, they were convicted. Antron McCray, Kevin Richardson, Yusef Salaam, and Raymond Santana were sentenced to 5 to 10 years in juvenile detention. Corey Wise, the oldest at 16, was sentenced to 12 years in an adult prison, where he suffered unimaginable abuse and solitary confinement. For years, they sat behind bars, their innocence ignored. Corey Wise, in particular, endured unspeakable hardships in adult prison. He was repeatedly assaulted and spent long periods in solitary confinement. Yet, he never gave up hope. In 2002, a shocking confession changed everything. Matias Reyes, a convicted rapist and murderer, came forward. He admitted that he alone had committed the crime. DNA evidence confirmed his claim, something that had never connected the Central Park Five to the assault. The convictions were overturned. After over a decade of being labeled criminals, they were finally exonerated. But could they ever get back what was stolen from them? Their story didn't end there. The five men sued New York City for their wrongful convictions and won a $41 million settlement. But no amount of money could give them back the years they lost, the trauma they endured, or the pain they carried. Today, they are known as the Exonerated Five, and their story stands as a reminder of the deep flaws in the justice system. It's a story of injustice, but also one of resilience, because despite everything, they survived, and they're using their voices to make sure this never happens again. If this story moved you, if it made you think twice about the power of the media, the justice system, and the lives it affects, share this story. Speak up against injustice, because if we don't, history will keep repeating itself. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Do you believe justice was truly served? And what can we do to prevent wrongful convictions in the future? Let's start the conversation. Subscribe to my channel for more stories like this. Hit that like button, turn on notifications, and be part of a community that seeks justice and awareness. Your voice matters.